Welcome to the major events of Afghanistan on Monday, July 14th. Some families who have recently returned to Afghanistan from Pakistan and Iran have expressed concern over their daughters being deprived of education. They say that their daughters attended school while they were abroad, but now that they have returned to the country, they are forced to stay at home because of the Taliban's policies. Please pay attention to our exclusive report on this matter.
Don't make us look immoral.
Sadia is the mother of 7 daughters who recently returned to Afghanistan from the city of Peshawar in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, Pakistan. She says that after living in that country for 10 years, she returned to Afghanistan 2 months ago and now lives with her family in Suli district, one of the districts of Nangarhar province. Sadia said,
Do your daughters go to school in your country? Our daughters went to school there. If there was education for them here too, maybe they would have become doctors or teachers. I don't have any sons. At the very least, they could have become the breadwinners of the family. Our message to the government is that girls should also be allowed to get an education. After the Taliban took over Afghanistan again on August 15th, 2021, girls above 6th grade were banned from going to school. And this is a source of worry for them. How so? We have no idea what will happen. We just want the schools to reopen so our daughters can study.
Shabana is a 35-year-old woman and mother of 4 daughters who returned from Iran about a month ago and now lives with her 6-member family in the city of Mazar-e-Sharif, Balkh province. She says that during the first Taliban regime, she herself was deprived of an education, and now her daughters are facing the same fate.
She said, We are very worried. We don't know what their future will be. I wanted and still want the universities to reopen for girls. I want the schools to open so girls can study. I wished for one of them to become a doctor and for another to become a teacher. I want this eldest daughter to become a teacher. I want my 10-year-old daughter to become a doctor. Everything is good between us. That is our hope and wish.
Safia, a 14-year-old girl who was in 6th grade in Iran and now studies at night, also asks the Taliban to lift the educational restrictions.
We had many dreams, but now we are heartbroken. We don't go to school. We want to study. We want to finish grade 12. We want to go to university and become something. We used to be happy. We used to study a lot. So we still have some hope. We wish that schools and universities would open so we can study. We also want to learn some things in religious schools. We want to be able to stand on our own feet.
Mansour Ahmad Hamza, the spokesperson for the Taliban's Ministry of Education, did not respond to questions about these concerns and demands. Sheen Cockrochail, a member of the campaign supporting girls' education and former Afghan ambassador to Canada, said that the Taliban should reconsider their policies and open the doors of schools and universities to girls. She said, In this situation, these are the blows dealt by the Taliban.
It is essential that the Taliban review their policies and allow the reopening of schools so that girls can study up to 12th grade and attend university. Also, girls who are studying in universities and medical institutes should be allowed to continue their education. Afghanistan needs professional personnel, and the training of specialists must continue in order to meet the needs of the people.
Until recently, in the month of Cause 1401, December 2022, the Taliban also banned girls from attending university. Although at first girls were allowed to study in medical institutes, in Cause 1403, December 2024, this opportunity was also taken away from them. On March 22nd of this year, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, warned that with the start of the 1404 academic year, about 400,000 more girls have been deprived of their right to education, bringing the total number of girls deprived of education in Afghanistan to 2.2 million. UNICEF warned that if these restrictions continue until 2030, up to 4 million girls will be kept out of school. However, these UNICEF statistics were published before the intensification of the expulsion of Afghan migrants from Iran and Pakistan.
Some residents of Kandahar, the stronghold of the Taliban leader, say that in recent days, officials from the Department of Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice have started taking strict measures against people for trimming or shaving their beards. According to reports, a number of men in Kandahar have been arrested because their beards were shorter than a fist length, and eyewitnesses told Zarin World TV that the officials from the Department of Promotion of Virtue behaved insultingly and with resentment. Please pay attention to our exclusive report on this matter.
Hamid, whose full name is Namo Sar, is a resident of Kandahar City. He spent a short time in detention because he trimmed his beard, during which the officers from the Department of Promotion of Virtue behaved insultingly and with resentment. Hamid claims that one of the officers told him, "You are not even a Muslim, but at least don't shave your beard." Because of the sensitivity of the issue and since Hamid does not want his voice to be broadcast, we will share the details of his statements using the voice of one of my colleagues.
First, they took us to the precinct. They took our personal information and then took us to prison. We spent 1.5 days there. When we were released, they called in the elders of our family, and after they gave a guarantee, we were freed on the condition that we would no longer shave our beards or keep them shorter than a fist's length.
The law of the Taliban's Department for the Promotion of Virtue, which was passed last year, is now being enforced in Kandahar. Article 10 of this law requires the enforcers to act with respect for human dignity and to treat people well. This article also emphasizes that preventing wrongdoing should be done through advice and guidance, and that physical intervention or use of force is only permitted when it is necessary to prevent the commission of a major sin. However, a shopkeeper from Herat Bazaar in Kandahar City, who did not want to be named, said that the enforcers have started to treat people harshly. We will share the details of his statements using the voice of one of my colleagues.
Last week, an officer from the Department of Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice came to my shop and said, "I'm advising you for the last time to grow your beard. Our patience has run out. Grow your beard, not for us, but for God."
However, Saif al-Islam Khyber, the spokesperson for the Taliban's Department of Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, says that so far, no official order has been issued making it mandatory to grow a beard. The religious inspectors only visit the shops and offer invitations. Article 24 of the law on the Department of Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice states that, as a first step, the individual should be advised and counseled. Then, warning of divine punishment, threats with harsh words, monetary fines, short-term detention from 1 hour to 3 days, and, if there is no improvement, referring the person to court are included. Over the past 4 years, the Taliban have started implementing strict policies from Kandahar and then expanded them across the country. Sources have confirmed that, during the week, the morality police go to markets and issue warnings about beards. They have also detained individuals who did not heed their advice, and after releasing them, have shaved their hair. One of our sources said that the morality police imprisoned someone for 2 days just for trimming his beard.
Eyewitness reports from Pakistan indicate that Pakistan has stopped extending the visas of a number of Afghans, and now the relocation of migrants who are living in the country with legal visas is at risk of deportation. They claim that if they are deported from Pakistan due to the non-renewal of their residence visas, their lives will be in mortal danger in Afghanistan. Please pay attention to our exclusive report on this matter.
A number of Afghans with legal documents residing in Pakistan say that because their residence visas have not been renewed, they are facing harassment by the police and the risk of deportation. Many of these individuals, who are waiting for their immigration and resettlement cases to be processed in other countries, say that for about the past 20 days, the Pakistani government has stopped the process of renewing their visas. Hasina Wafara, one of them who lives in Islamabad, said on Sunday that in the past few days her visa extension request has not been accepted, and for this reason, she is extremely worried.
This is one of the ways they are paving the ground for the forced deportation of Afghans. Because most Afghans who live here are residing based on visas, and if their visas are not extended or if they are not granted visas, then we are at risk of forced deportation.
Another Afghan in Islamabad, Pakistan's capital, with a P2 case from the United States due to the issue's sensitivity, agreed to speak anonymously with their voice altered and said,
Shavat Shalarzakid, of course, extension. Andreas Chinga, legislation.
It's a necessity. It's been about 20 days since Pakistan stopped extending visas for Afghans. This has caused a lot of problems. The police come and harass Afghans. They take money from them and threaten them. In addition, Afghans are facing severe psychological and mental problems, constantly feeling threatened with deportation at any moment.
They claim that if they are deported from Pakistan due to the inability to extend their visas, their lives will be at risk of death in Afghanistan. They are asking the Pakistani government to start the process of extending their residence visas as soon as possible so that their concerns can be alleviated. Although the Pakistani government has not yet officially commented on the suspension of the visa extension process for Afghans, some Pakistani media outlets, including Geo News, reported on July 12 that the country's Federal Investigation Agency, or FIA, has arrested a number of administrative staff on charges of illegally issuing electronic visas to Afghans. According to them, this issue has caused delays in the visa extension process. According to the report, the case came to light after Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency identified a group that, using fake documents and in exchange for money, facilitated the issuance of residence visas for Afghans. The Afghan embassy in Islamabad, which operates under Taliban administration, has also not officially commented on the suspension of this process so far. After the Taliban returned to power in Afghanistan, a large number of Afghan citizens, including collaborators with American and Western forces, human rights activists, journalists, civil society activists, and members of the former government's security forces, have fled to Pakistan, citing efforts to save their lives. However, the exact number is not known. Many Afghans in Pakistan have residency visas that require monthly renewal. They apply every month to renew their visas. Previously, this visa used to be renewed for 6 months, but now Afghan migrants in Pakistan claim that the monthly visa renewal costs more than 25,000 rupees per person, which many of them cannot afford. Meanwhile, the process of deporting Afghan migrants without legal documents and those holding Afghan cards or ACC cards from Pakistan is still ongoing. The Taliban government has announced that on Saturday alone, 96 Afghan families, totaling 485 people, were returned from Pakistan to Afghanistan. Hamdullah Fikrat, the deputy spokesperson for the Taliban government, wrote on his X page that these individuals entered Afghanistan through the Torkham, Spin Bolda, and Angra Ada border crossings.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, in a new report, says that the main focus on emergency aid in Afghanistan has led to the neglect of other vital needs of the people. Meanwhile, OCHA has stated in its report that a lack of funding has hindered an effective response to needs, and out of the more than $3 billion required for humanitarian response in 2024, only 47% has been funded during the fiscal year. Please pay attention to our exclusive report on this matter.
A new report from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, shows that the heavy focus on food aid in Afghanistan in 2024 has led to other vital needs of the people, such as water, health services, hygiene, and emergency shelter, not being adequately addressed. This report, titled Afghanistan Humanitarian Needs and Response Plan 2024, which was published on Sunday, July 13th, examines the gaps in response, funding levels, achievements, and operational challenges of humanitarian aid in the country over the past year. OCHA added that in 2024, more than 22.4 million people received at least one type of humanitarian aid, which is 29%, over 100%, more than the set target. However, 67% of these individuals only received food assistance, and even that was often provided in reduced rations and fewer distribution cycles. The report stated that although this level of coverage indicates broader access to address food insecurity, it also highlights the risk of overlooking millions of people who need ongoing and multi-sectoral support to fully meet their basic needs throughout the year. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs added that many people, especially in rural and affected areas, have not had access to safe drinking water, sanitation services, and primary health care, which has increased people's vulnerability and raised the risk of disease outbreaks, malnutrition, and preventable deaths. According to OCHA, at the same time, thousands of families, especially after floods and earthquakes, have been left without adequate shelter, and the inability to provide emergency shelter during the cold season or in harsh environmental conditions has posed a serious threat to the lives of vulnerable families. It goes on to say that these shortages and problems show that the humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan goes beyond food and security and requires a comprehensive, multi-sectoral approach. A response that goes beyond food aid and also addresses other basic needs such as drinking water, sanitation, health services, and emergency shelter. Meanwhile, social affairs experts and civil activists say that the role of food aid distribution in reducing poverty in Afghanistan has been minimal, and relief organizations should focus more on creating job opportunities. Syed Ashraf Sadat, one of them, said that alternative ways of providing aid should be sought to revive the local economy.
Aid organizations, especially the United Nations, should focus more on creating job opportunities instead of distributing food supplies. Focusing on rural livelihoods, rebuilding and renovating streams, helping to mechanize agriculture, assisting in the establishment of cold storage facilities in villages, building rural roads, and showing income-generating opportunities for young people, and so on, could be better solutions so that people can gradually free themselves from dependence on receiving monthly or weekly food aid.
The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, has previously stated that nearly 23 million people in Afghanistan will need humanitarian assistance this year.
End of the news.